Commissioner Manfred, thanks for joining us tonight. Just in terms of where baseball stands right now, how likely is it, do you think, that Americans are going to get to see Major League Baseball this year, and what might it look like?
Well, I think it's hopeful that we will have some Major League Baseball this summer. We are making plans about playing in empty stadiums. But as I've said before, all of those plans are dependent on what the public health situation is and us reaching the conclusion that it'll be safe for our players and other employees to come back to work.
And is there what happens if a player just thinks it's too risky still, Commissioner? That happens obviously in other professions as well. What happens to those players?
Well, we hope that we will be able to convince the vast majority of our players that it's safe to return to work. The protocols for returning to play, the health-related protocols are about 80 pages in length. They're extraordinarily detailed. They cover everything from how the players will travel, private charters, how those charters have to be cleaned, who has access to the ballpark, strict limits on number of people, tiering of employees. So even those people who are in the ballpark will be isolated in general from the players. So we'll hope that we'll be able to convince them that it's safe. At the end of the day, however, if there's players with either health conditions or just their own personal doubts, we would never force them or try to force them to come back to work. They can wait until they feel they're ready to come.
I think one of the things that comes up, and people have been reading about this, it's that the players' union has indicated that it won't agree to this because it's a pay cut, and obviously there are players who are talking about the risk not being worth it. You're going to try and convince them, obviously, that it's safe. But what about just the optics of this overall, Commissioner? I mean, 35 million people have lost their jobs in the country. There's a fight that's going on over money at the MLB. How do you handle the optics of this?
Yeah, I think that whenever there's a discussion about economics, publicly people tend to characterize it as a fight. Me personally, I have great confidence that we'll reach an agreement with the Players Association, both that it's safe to come back to work and work out the economic issues that need to be resolved.
And then if someone does test positive for the virus during the season, then how do you handle that? Does everyone that the person's been in contact with then have to go into quarantine for 14 days?
Our experts are advising us that we don't need a 14-day quarantine. What we will do is the positive individual will be removed from the rest of the group. There will be a quarantine arrangement in each facility and in each city, and then we'll do contact tracing for the individuals that we believe there was contact with, and we will do point-of-care testing for those individuals to minimize the likelihood that there's been a spread.
I guess the challenge, right, Commissioner, is then if you're trying to avoid a cluster of people becoming positive. That's what you're describing. But what if you do start to see more than one player or a few players? If they're still playing, despite having been exposed to someone who has this, doesn't that carry significant risk?
Well, again, nothing is risk-free in this undertaking. We're trying to mitigate that risk with the repeated point-of-care testing to make sure that people who have had contact have not been exposed, and by obviously removing those individuals that have a positive test, they will be quarantined until they have 2 negative tests over a 24-hour period.
Major League Baseball is obviously a business. Do you have what happens if you don't have a season? I mean, I don't know the economics of it well enough. If there's no baseball played this year or it gets shut down mid-season because of another outbreak, economically, what does that mean? Obviously, the ripple effects for a lot of people, there's a lot of people who, beyond just the players, who are involved and need this work.
Yeah, the economic effects are devastating, frankly, for the clubs. We're a big business, but we're a seasonal business. And unfortunately, this crisis began at kind of the low point for us in terms of revenue. We hadn't quite started our season yet. And if we don't play a season, the losses for the owners could approach $4 billion.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.